Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Ty here, and this is Ty the Space. Aqara just released a brand new matter over thread motion sensor. Now this is the very first time they're releasing this type of motion sensor, and it's called the Aqara P2. The P2 is basically a direct competition to the Eve motion sensor. Full disclaimer, Aqara sent me this product, but this is not a sponsored video, so you're going to be getting my honest opinion about this motion sensor. Weeks ago, I did compare and review about 7 different motion sensors from different brands, including the Aqara P1 and the Eve motion sensor. In that list, the Eve came out on top, blowing all the rest out of the water. The Aqara P1 at the time did not do so well. In fact, it was at the bottom of the pile. And some of the reasons were because of the fact that it had lots of false negatives, the light sensor was only usable within the Aqara app. But the Aqara P2 has fixed a lot of that issue, and I'm excited to actually give it a try and see if this would be a worthy contender for the Eve motion sensor. Now let's dive right into what's inside the box first of all. Everything inside the Aqara box is actually very similar and identical to the P1. It has the very minimal packaging and has just the 2 contents inside of it, which is the sensor and the stand. Now this stand can be adjusted in a variety of ways. You can use double-sided tape to stick it against the wall or any material of your choice, and then you can tilt and swivel it around its axis for maximum coverage. Pretty much everything about the P2 is identical to the P1, except for the fact that the P2 now supports thread over matter. Now what that essentially means is that it uses thread. Thread is a low latency, meaning that automations will trigger super fast. It is low powered, meaning that battery life will last a lot longer. It is also a wireless mesh network, which means that every device you add to the mesh network would expand that network, unlike Wi-Fi, where you have to get your Wi-Fi access points to be pretty good. Now let's talk about the wireless connectivity of the P2. Because the Aqara P2 supports Matter, you can use it with any of your favorite smart home system. You can use it with Google, Apple, Amazon, SmartThings, Home Assistant, pretty much any of them. However, you need a thread border router to be able to use it with any of this respective smart home system. For Apple Home, you can use the HomePod Mini or the Apple TV Gen 2. For Google, you can use it with the Nest Wi-Fi, Nest Hub Max, or the Nest Hub 2nd Gen. For Amazon, you can use it with the Eero 6 Plus wireless access point, or you can use it with the Echo 4th Gen. I personally use Apple Home and Home Assistant and Samsung SmartThings Hub. And one of the beauty of Matter is the fact that you can take this single device and you can connect it to all these different devices if you decide to use all of them like I do. Alright, let's dive right to installing it first of all. Now I use Apple Home, so I'm going to get it set up with Apple Home first. And I'm going to add a new device there, and then I'm going to scan the Matter code. Now it immediately pops off as a sensor, so I'm going to add that to my home. So essentially I'm using both the Apple HomePod Mini and the Apple TV. So the HomePod Mini is my the primary, and the Apple TV is my secondary. So it's adding to my home. I'm going to put this on my main level. So select the kitchen. Now the first thing we can immediately notice that's a major improvement about the P2 is the light sensor. We can see right here that the light sensor is exposed to the Apple Home app. Unlike the P1, the light sensor was not exposed. You could only access the lux sensor within the Aqara app. And then we're not going to set up any automations. I don't do automations within the Apple Home app. Most of my automations happen within SmartThings and Home Assistant. So you're going to say continue. We'll view it in the home. So you can immediately see there that it has 2 accessories, right? The lux sensor, which is reading a value of 74, and I'm sure if I turn it towards my light right there, you can see that the value has changed. So there's another thing that I've immediately noticed about this guy. The change is instantaneous. We can now even go ahead. I'm going to turn on pairing mode right there. If I turn on pairing mode, that should generate a setup code. Then I can go over to Google Home, and then I can add a new device. So if I choose Matter enabled device, and then we can set up without a QR code, paste in the code right there, and then next, and then it will just do its thing. Okay, then it says we want to agree, allow. So essentially the Google Home will connect to my Aqara using my thread border router, which is the Apple HomePod Mini. So we're going to add that in there. I've actually set up both the Aqara sensor and the Eve motion sensor in my bathroom right now. If we look at both of them, this guy is reading 0. Basically 0 on the Eve side of things, and the Aqara is reading 1, which is relatively close. It's 8:52 p.m. right now, so it's pretty dark. And if you look at the occupancy sensor as well, both of them are reading none. So now let's go ahead and see which of them, how they react to changes. So I'm going to go right in there. So you can immediately notice that this guy has updated, which is the Eve, but still nothing from the Aqara yet. Okay, now the Aqara has updated as well. So this has always been my issue with the Aqara sensors. They have a little bit of a delay with updating their data. So we're going to look at the light levels here for both of them. So still 1. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the light in the bathroom. So that should change. So you see that this guy has updated already. So that was pretty fast actually. They both responded at the same time. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. We'll see how fast it updates. So this guy has updated already. Yeah, so they're relatively about the same in terms of response time right there. Again, and then we'll see which of them updates first. So they're still, this one is seeing 5.6, this one is seeing 1. Okay, they're both updated. So I'll say in terms of response, they're about the same now. So it looks like the Aqara P2's response has gotten significantly better than the P1, and it's a little bit more reliable. But all right, we're going to do a test of the Aqara P2 and the Eve motion sensor using the same metrics as I did from the previous motion sensor test. I mean, you could tell that from the Aqara before, right about there it fails. For the Aqara, you have to go all the way to the far end of there before it triggered, and the Eve was pretty much always at the beginning. Let's see how better the P2 has gotten as well. Do the same test using just the Eve and the Aqara sensor. Now this is the Aqara motion sensor. Okay, let's do the one for Eve now. That concludes my review of the Aqara P2. For my testing, I can confirm that the P2 has seen a tremendous improvement over the P1. Now the P1 had so much issues that I personally would not buy one for myself, only if I was given one. One of the things that comes with automation is you want sensors that are actually reliable and accurate. But the P1 did not actually give me that from my own testing. I'm not sure about other people, but from what I tested, the P1 wasn't very reliable, gave a lot of false positives, false readings as well. The fact that that loss value was not readable in any other app other than the Aqara app kind of made it useless as well. All of this have been resolved in the P2. In fact, I can say the P2 is at par with the Eve motion sensor. So if you're in the market to get a motion sensor that supports thread over matter, I think both of them are worthy contenders, and at this point, the only thing that will probably set them apart would probably be the price difference. But then again, the Eve motion sensor is IP65 rated, which means you can use it outdoors as well, but you can't do that with the Aqara P2. But again, I mean, most people don't use motion sensors outdoors anyway, so I'd rather pay a little bit cheaper for the P2 than getting the much bigger and bulkier Eve motion sensor. But again, like I said, both of them are actually great motion sensors. They work about the same. The only difference there is just that the lux value reading, which there's always that, about 20 to 30 lux value difference between the Eve and the Aqara. I can't confirm which of them is the most accurate one. But again, that value is not really a deal breaker, because as long as the value is consistent, you can be able to set up automations to be able to trigger based on the readings that that sensor consistently gives. You can account for that and adjust for that in most of your automations as well. If you found this video helpful, leave a comment down in the comment section. I also have links to all these products in my description down below. Using those links helps support the channel so we can continue to create more fantastic content for you guys. Thank you so much. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Stay safe.